If something happens to me, it won't be an accident. Those were the last words Rachel Morrow ever said to her sister. 3 days later, her body was pulled from the cold, gray waters of Lake Everlyn. Her husband, Mark, said it was a tragic accident, that she slipped off their canoe while they were stargazing. No witnesses, no signs of struggle, just one man's version of the truth. The police ruled it an accident. Case closed. But 15 years later, deep in the woods near the lake, a teenager hiking with her dog stumbled on something strange tucked into a hollowed-out tree. A weathered leather journal, wrapped in a plastic bag. Inside were pages soaked with fear, paranoia, confessions, and a terrifying sentence scribbled across the final entry. If you're reading this, I didn't drown. Mark claimed he dove in after her, but couldn't find her. By the time he flagged down a passing fisherman, nearly an hour had gone by. Rachel's body was recovered the next morning. She had no visible injuries, no water in her lungs. The coroner called it a sudden cardiac event triggered by cold shock. The police ruled it accidental. Mark was cleared. Rachel was buried. But something never sat right with her younger sister, Elise. I knew Rachel, Elise later told reporters. She was afraid of deep water. She wouldn't go canoeing after dark. And she always wore a life vest. Over the next few years, Elise tried to move on. But strange details kept resurfacing. Rachel's phone, which she always kept with her, was missing. Her wedding ring was not on her finger when she was found. The wine bottle on the canoe had no fingerprints, not even marks. And then there were the entries in Rachel's planner Elise had kept. A cryptic note 2 weeks before her death read, "Keep the bag hidden, just in case." But what bag? Hidden where? In 2014, Elise tried to have the case reopened. But without new evidence, the Ashwood PD wouldn't budge. Until July 2022. On a sweltering July afternoon, 15-year-old Mia Thompson was hiking in the woods surrounding Lake Everlyn with her dog. It was a route she'd taken dozens of times. But something caught her attention. A hollowed-out tree, its inside blackened with time but dry. Inside a Ziploc bag. She brought it home without opening it. Her mother called the police. Inside the bag was a small leather-bound journal. The name on the first page? Rachel Morrow. The journal covered the last 4 months of Rachel's life. As investigators read page after page, a chilling story emerged. Rachel had grown increasingly afraid of Mark. At first, she blamed herself, writing off his mood swings, the sudden disappearances, the gaslighting. But over time, the entries grew darker. Mark disappears for hours, comes back with dirt on his hands, said he's fixing up the shed. But we don't have a shed. He reads my messages. I caught him going through my purse. Said he was protecting me. I had a dream last night that I was underwater. Couldn't breathe. I woke up to find Mark watching me sleep. And then the final entry, written 2 days before her death. There's something in the woods. Place he never lets me go near. Today when he left, I found it. Pit, covered with branches. Something's wrong. I'm hiding this journal in the hollow tree near the trail fork. If something happens to me, I didn't drown. The journal changed everything. Investigators returned to the lake, this time with cadaver dogs and forensic teams. Behind the cabin, buried beneath a false floor in the tool shed, they found what Rachel described, a shallow pit. Inside were scraps of burnt fabric, jewelry, and bones. Some animal, some human. DNA later confirmed. One of the bones belonged to Samantha Reyes, a woman who had gone missing in 2003. Mark had briefly dated her. Mark Morrow was arrested in August 2022. He has since pleaded not guilty to 2 counts of homicide. Police believe Rachel's discovery of the burial site is what sealed her fate. But questions remain. Why did it take 15 years to find the journal? Did Mark know it existed? More chilling still, investigators found receipts for rope, tarp, and sedatives in Mark's truck dated 2 weeks before Rachel's death. And on Rachel's death certificate, no water in the lungs, meaning she was dead before she entered the lake. But the most haunting discovery of all? Inside the journal, hidden in a taped envelope, was a tiny photograph of Rachel as a child, smiling in front of a lake. Written on the back, "I've always known I'd die near water, just didn't know who'd hold me under." Rachel Morrow's voice wasn't heard in court, but her journal, weathered, stained, and hidden away in a tree hollow, spoke louder than any testimony ever could. If you or someone you love is in a controlling or abusive relationship, listen to the whispers before they become screams. Because sometimes the most dangerous place is home. Previously, we told you the story of Rachel Morrow, believed to have drowned in Lake Everlyn in 2007. Her husband, Mark, claimed it was an accident. Authorities agreed. Case closed. But 15 years later, her hidden journal surfaced inside a tree hollow, detailing fear, paranoia, and the chilling truth. If you're reading this, I didn't drown. Now, we go deeper into what Rachel discovered in the final days of her life, and the dark legacy Mark left behind. When Rachel's body was recovered, there were two things missing: her wedding ring, her cell phone. Authorities chalked it up to being lost in the water. But Elise, Rachel's sister, remembered something strange. Rachel had just upgraded her phone that summer and was obsessive about backing up her journal app. She kept repeating, "If I lose my phone, I lose everything." When the journal was found in 2022, there was a passing mention of her phone in an entry dated 3 days before her death. "I backed everything up, twice. He'll never find the second copy." What did she mean by second copy? Where was it stored? Investigators began digging into old cloud records, but nothing came up until a tech forensics team unearthed a clue on Rachel's old planner. A series of 6 random digits written faintly on the back cover. Turns out it was the login code for a secondary email Rachel had created but never told anyone about. The inbox was nearly empty, except for one draft, saved but never sent. The subject line? "If I disappear, check the shed." 2. Mark's vanishing trail, 4 to 9 o'clock. After the journal was found, Ashwood PD began re-examining Mark's past. The more they looked, the more they found cracks in the carefully crafted story he'd lived. In 1999, in Twin Falls, Idaho, Mark, then going by the name Jason Kellner, was briefly questioned in the disappearance of his college girlfriend, Erica Dean, after she was last seen at a remote cabin near a lake. No charges were filed. He moved to a new state. In 2003, now calling himself Michael Reeve, Mark lived in Nevada and worked construction. He dated a waitress named Samantha Reyes, who vanished after telling a friend she was scared of what she found in his garage. Samantha was never seen again. Years later, her charred remains would be discovered in the pit behind Mark's Oregon cabin. But it wasn't just the women. Neighbors recalled a disturbing pattern. Mark always moved to isolated homes, near lakes or forests. He kept his personal life private, changed vehicles often, never kept friends for long. To those looking closely, he was always a ghost. 3. What Rachel found 9 to 1400 hours. In the final pages of her journal, Rachel detailed a secret she had uncovered. On July 29th, 2 weeks before her death, she followed Mark deep into the woods while he was distracted fixing the car. "He doesn't know I'm behind him. He's carrying something wrapped in plastic. I see him kneel behind the shed. Then I hear digging." She described watching him lift a wooden board and lower the package into a pit. She didn't know what it was until 2 days later, when he left to buy parts for his truck. She returned to the pit and uncovered what she called a bundle of teeth and bones. "There's jewelry too, burnt, blackened. I saw a charm shaped like a crescent moon." That exact charm was later identified by Samantha Reyes' family. Rachel knew what she had found, and more terrifyingly, she knew what Mark would do if he knew she had seen it. 4. The second journal? 14 to 1800 hours. Investigators believe the journal found in the tree was just one of several Rachel had kept. Inside her planner, a note on July 15th read, "Journal number 2 stays hidden under the floorboards. If he finds this one, at least the other survives." But so far, only one has ever been recovered. Police searched the cabin floorboards. Nothing. They even dug up parts of the surrounding forest. Still, no sign of the second journal, until a tip came in. A man named Carl Hammond, who bought the cabin in 2021 before flipping it, recalled something odd during renovations. We found a notebook inside the wall near the kitchen. My buddy tossed it in the dumpster, figured it was old junk. The notebook, if still in existence, may have held the final days of Rachel's unraveling and the full truth about what Mark planned next. 5. The cliffhanger. Someone's been watching 18 to 2000 hours. Just as police were about to conclude their renewed investigation, something chilling happened. Elise, Rachel's sister, was staying temporarily in Ashwood, helping with trial preparation. Late one night, she returned to her Airbnb to find a manila envelope slid under the door. Inside, a printed photo of Rachel from her wedding day, eyes blacked out with marker. No note, no fingerprints, no explanation. On the back, in shaky handwriting, "The lake doesn't forget, and neither do I."